Oh, say, can't we should have to do the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, at the start of every stream from now on. I want to see you guys singing. I almost said the Pledge of Allegiance. Wait, what the? God, my stuff is so neat, and you guys can't even appreciate it. You can't even appreciate it. You can't even appreciate it. It doesn't come out well in a picture, okay? You can't, the carpet's different colors, okay? Just my chords are immaculately managed, all right? My setup has been so simplified. God, it's genius. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Okay, what am I looking for? 1 hour long? Heck no. What is this Demonmama? You see the latest Dim Fool tweets? I'm always looking at Dim Fool tweets. My beanie baby. Heck yeah. Oh, wait. What temperature water is the best? For what?
Content warning. This video contains descriptions of despicable acts and depravity involving children that may disgust or disturb you. Do not listen to this video in any public places or where others may hear the content described herein. No graphic images will be shown directly, though representations obscured with mosaic overlays may be used. Viewer discretion is advised. On July 29th, 2024, a self-identified leftist online political commentator and live streamer known online by her handle Demonmama aired a roughly 3-hour and 5-minute live stream titled "Xander Hall Wants a Nuke? Here is your nuke."
Oh,
during the video,
they do be writing manifestos over there.
Out a series of accusations against another politics live streamer in her space, the Xander Hall mentioned in the title. In this live stream, amongst a number of issues, Demonmama claimed Xander Hall was especially onerous in his treatment of an employee known as Cherry Bread in online spaces, particularly accusing him of withholding pay for selfish reasons and generally being abusive. Now, mind you, these were not issues that Demonmama had just found out about or that had recently occurred, but rather had happened over half a year prior and never been reported. Allegations that included abuse of a worker by their employer, exploitation, and even death threats. While Xander Hall was justifiably browbeaten for his bad behavior, for some reason, only I was asking a question that I thought would be obvious to everybody. What kind of person covers up evidence of abuse and death threats for months in order to blackmail somebody? The answer is...
Okay, somebody put something in my chat. A few days ago. No, a couple of weeks ago. And it's been mind-fucking me. I mentioned something about my Invisalign stuff, and they said, welcome to the never-ending, like, ortho Ferris wheel or some bullshit, or ortho merry-go-round. Is this a thing? I feel my bite changing a little bit as I am, like, using these retainers or whatever to... I imagine to make them stay there forever, hopefully. The last time I went into the, okay, 3 weeks ago, this is just a forewarning, okay? All right, about a year ago? When did I start my Invisalign? I think about a year ago. I have a tooth down here that was like twisting a little bit. A little bit, a lot of it. It wasn't that bad. Wait, where are we? I don't even know what you can see. I guess it's straight now. Well, it should be. I paid for it. This tooth down here was like twisted a bit. I would give it a good, I'd say a good 45 degrees, okay? As a result of the twist, anytime I would go to the dentist for like teeth cleaning, wait, is 45 degrees a lot? A full turn would be 90 degrees. Yeah, I would say it was about 45 degrees, yeah. That was like the only one. It was annoying. I guess you'd call it crowding or whatever. Anytime I go to the dentist to get my teeth cleaned, there would always be tartar on the bottom, like that part of that tooth. You couldn't really floss it because the floss would just get eaten or would get destroyed. And brushing back there, I guess, was hard. I guess so, if I always had tartar back there. And I figure as I get older, it's only going to get worse. So I figure, okay, well, can I do like some kind of tooth adjustment to get this like changed? So I decided to go down the Invisalign route because like, okay, sure, let's try it. So I do the Invisalign thing. I think we talked through. I mean, obviously, I'm streaming the whole time. The first like 2 days were probably unbearable. Like, I think it was just the most uncomfortable thing in the world. And then after like 3 or 4 days, I was basically done with the pain or the weird, like just having a thing in my mouth. And then I kind of got used to it over the next, 6 months is probably about how long it took. I think my adjustment was very slight. So some people need it for like 2 years or something. I think my initial estimate was 4 months. Then I went back because this wasn't totally fixed. And then they gave me like 2 more months worth of trays, which I think I ended about a month and a half ago or 2 months ago. And then, after that, I think I was basically done. And then they gave me these are like retainers basically. Let's see, was this about a month ago? After I got my retainers, I started to have some pain in the back here. Like pain I'd never felt before in a tooth. So like if I were to bite like that, like if I were to tap my teeth, this was very sensitive back here. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. I have tooth pain. So I went into the dentist and I told them, I was like, hey, this tooth, as of like 2 days ago, it's like gotten pretty bad. It's kind of like, it's pretty sharp pain. It's pretty annoying. I can't like snap my jaw or whatever, click my jaw or whatever. It hurts. And they x-rayed it. Well, first she said, oh, you probably need a root canal. And I was like, wait, what? I've never had a cavity in my life. Why do I need a root canal? She's like, oh, it's a very common thing. I'm like, okay, can we do like an x-ray or something? She's like, okay, sure. So we did an x-ray and you could see down at the root of the tooth, the nerve was a little bit inflamed. And she was like, oh yeah, inflammation of the nerve means that it's probably all dead in here. You need a root canal. I'll refer you to a not an orthodontist, not a dentist. Is it an orthodontist? Who are the med school people? Who am I thinking of? There's like a more complicated name, bullshit. Endodontist, that might have been it, maybe. So I'm like, okay. So then I go home and I start Googling and looking around because I'm like, what the fuck? So I find out apparently you can get a bacterial infection in your tooth that kills the nerve. You can get I think it's generally a bacterial infection. You can get a cavity that like eats into the nerve or something, and that once the nerve kind of dies, it basically just like dies, it rots away, and eventually that pain causes inflammation in the nerve, and that's like a big indication that shit inside the tooth is fucked. And you can get a procedure called a root canal, where they basically uncap the tooth, they go in, they clean the nerve out completely, they fill it with some other like biologically compatible thing, and then and that's it. And apparently they do like 30 million of these a year in the United States. How many? It's an ungodly amount. How many root canals in the U.S. per year? 15 million every year. What the fuck? So
when a cavity goes deep into your tooth, it's not only inside of the tooth enamel, it's not in the dentin, but now it's into the nerve of a tooth. So you can't fix it with then.
Okay, I need to listen. Yeah, so they go in, they take out the nerve, or the pulp, I guess is what they call it, because it's like dead shit now. They replace it with some other bullshit. Yeah, and then they seal the tooth basically with a crown or something at the top. The downsides are that now you've lost all the vascularity in your tooth. You have no more active blood flow, which can cause the tooth to become more brittle over time. I think maybe in 10 or 20 years. It just varies from person to person. But anyway, I'm a little bit irritated because I'm like, wait, well, hold on. Now I'm mind fucked because was it because I did the Invisalign? Like I've never ever had a major tooth anything in my entire life. Like I think when I was younger, I think they like sandblasted like 2 small cavities on like the side of a tooth before. That's the only tooth thing I've ever had done besides the Invisalign. I've never had a major cavity, never had a major mouth pain. I'm like, now, how is it that I need a root canal now after 2 days of tooth pain? So they refer me to another dentist guy. I go there. I also do a lot of reading. And apparently tooth root canals are super like overprescribed, like crazy. They overprescribe, but I don't know if that's real or not. Who the fuck am I to say? Also, I don't want to fuck around with my mouth and tooth pain because that's miserable. Fuck that. So I go to this something dentist guy, and then he does like 55 stupid fucking tests on my fucking nerve. Okay. Jesus Christ. He does like some prostate electro stim thing. And he's like, okay, well, here, I've got like this is an electrical thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke your tooth and you tell me if you feel like you're getting electrocuted. And he does this like 20 times. And I'm like, yes. And he's like, it hurts. And I'm like, yes, it does. Like, oh, okay, well, that's good. It means the nerve is still there. I'm like, okay. Does it still hurt? Yes. Okay. and then he like pours cold water, hot water. He's like, oh, you feel all these things. I'm like, yes, this is all incredibly uncomfortable. And he's like, oh, okay. And then they look at another set of x-rays and like, okay, yeah. So when you do Invisalign, just sometimes the teeth get knocked around and your bite's like a little bit, your teeth back here are contacting early. So it's probably just like a little bit like bruised up. It's a little bit domestically abused, okay? And sometimes the nerve gets inflamed a bit, but it's fine. I'm like, okay. So then 2 days later, the pain is gone. So I don't know why they had me so hyped the fuck up for a root canal, okay? But the pain comes and goes within like 5 or 6 days. I'm like, okay, well, Jesus. So then I make another appointment back because they give me, when I was at the whatever dentist, he gives me like paper to bite on. I guess they probably slip in, it's some kind of pressure pad, I'm guessing. And when you bite it, they pull it to see like how good your bite is. I'm like, yeah, you've got like a little bit of whatever bullshit back here. So then I go into this dentist and I'm like, okay, hey, he wants you to look at my bite thing or whatever. And he's like, yeah, okay. And he's like, oh yeah, I see where it's off a little bit. Okay, well here, let's do something. So we lean back and he puts the things in my mouth. And then he brings out the thing. And I'm like, hold on, wait a second. And he's like, yeah, what's up? And I'm like, are you about to shave off some of my teeth right now? And he's like, oh yeah, but it's like very minor. It's just like a bit on your canines here so that it closes better. And I'm like, okay, fine. I wish you would have told me that. You're just gonna start shaving my teeth off? Why would you not like give me a heads up so I just know that I'm like permanently losing part of my teeth, okay? But it's just, so anyway, that's where I'm at. Jesus. Maybe, I don't know if I'm just a baby, but like or maybe I've taken my teeth for granted or not, but like the idea of like permanently making all, is like, damn, just let me, oh my God. It's stressful. Does it feel better now? Yeah, it's fine. But it's a lot. It's a lot of mental stuff. Also, these teeth back here settled, so my bite's not early, but yeah, Jesus. How much did the Invisalign cost total? It was $6,000. But I don't have cash or I'm sorry, I don't have insurance or anything, so maybe it's cheaper with insurance, maybe not. Also, every single fucking time I go into this place, and I guess it's because it's like, maybe I'm in Miami Beach, and they're like the aesthetic dentist people. Every single time I go in, they're like, oh, we've got like, you can do this. Are you sure you don't want to do the fluoride fucking treatment or whatever? And they always try to make you feel like shit too. And it's so funny. They'll be like, oh, like your teeth are, they're pretty yellow. Are you sure you don't want to do like the fluoride treatment or we can do bleaching? And I'm like, they're fine. No cavities, right? Like, yeah, no, you're fine. Okay. And everything's healthy, right? Like, yeah, it's like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to hydrogen peroxide bleach, destroy the fuck out of my enamel to make them well. I'm good. Thank you. Every single time I go in though, it's like, oh, with the Invisalign, it's only like $200 more. It's like, I'm okay. Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, my God. It's been an adventure. Teeth grow back. This is a common known fact without the dental academy community. The only teeth that grow back are your canines. All of your other teeth are permanent. You have them from birth. You can't grow back any of the molars or any of your, are these incisors?
The sort of person who will cover up other stuff as well. And that answer led, obviously, to the second question. What?
Did you confront them about the root canal? Well, they just said, oh, good. It's good that they're healthy. It was just crazy to me that my blood pressure and my calmness went from like 0 to 100. I just went in for like, oh, I got a little bit too. They're like, oh yeah, you definitely needed a root canal. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? I guess it's not a major procedure or anything, but like, damn, that's a lot to just drop on me out of nowhere without any kind of like actual confirming fucking evidence besides a little bit of nerve inflammation. Jesus.
What kind of stuff?
Fashion. He got uppity with me because I made fun of the idea.
If you had to take a guess, how much do you think the average dentist makes a year and how much does the average Miami dentist make? My guess is going to be that there's probably like you've probably got dental offices that focus on functionality, and you've probably got dental offices that focus on aesthetic. I'm pretty sure my dental place is like an aesthetic. I think it's called like, well, I don't want to say what it's called because I don't need to get a docs or whatever. Or, but the ones that probably focus more on like the aesthetic treatments, those dentists probably make way the fuck more. You should learn from her lighting skills.
He got uppity with me because I made fun of the idea.
Anybody with a passing knowledge of Demonmama knows she's closely connected to and in real life.
Jesus Christ, 1 hour. This lighting is actually so nice, and it does nice things too to make her look hotter or whatever. Because you've got one big light source here, and it looks like the light source is like, it's at like the level of her hips or lower. Look, so you've got like the shadowing on her legs, so it like highlights the thighs and the yummy, all that shit here. You've got lighting here. If she didn't have a shirt on, I would probably do it on both boobs too. That's good lighting for sexy stuff. Who's on my door? Hold on. Shut up. They don't want to talk to you. Anyway, good lighting, I would say. I give it an 8 out of 10.
Friends with Ian Kaczynski, known online as Vosh Vidya or Vosh. Vosh's roughly half-decade-long career online has been plagued with a series of scandals involving his ready use of child pornography and child sexual abuse as a rhetorical lever while crafting arguments. In fact, much of Vosh's rhetorical structure revolves around the use of sexual innuendo, and even outright gross sexual imposition against others.
Don't make me... Fuck. I usually take my Vyvanse either when I start streaming or about an hour before, so the highest concentration of it and the best mood that I have is usually 1 to 4 or 5 hours after I take it. So in my best mood, I want to be charitable to Vosh, because what he just said is not very accurate. It's just not. Also, why are we showing logs of him talking to Poppy 7 years ago to talk about how he structures debates? But whatever, I won't get into this.
Some of the best-known memes regarding the, at the time of writing, 457,000 sub YouTuber involve painting him as a child sexual predator, and his well-documented and outspoken desire to engage in acts of bestiality as a male horse. This culminated in early February 2024, when Vosh accidentally streamed the contents of a folder filled with pornography to a live audience of thousands, including a drawn image involving children performing oral sex on a horse. This is actually an important detail for later. Now colloquially known as the Taxes Folder incident, Vosh's pornography drop was condemned by nearly the entirety of the internet, with a few notable exceptions. To this day, Demonmama has never openly condemned Vosh for his possession of these materials, and, from what I understand, discussion of the topic is largely banned on her Discord server. The answer to this quandary isn't deep. Demonmama simply doesn't mind possession of these sorts of materials.
I know you would throw a fit if I didn't.
I just want to be on the record. I just want to say, insofar as Vosh's lolly horse possession goes, I also do not condemn, because I don't give a fuck, okay? So just let that be on the record. If you ever hear anybody in the future say, hold on, I didn't hear if Destiny condemned it or not. Like, oh my God, we don't know his position? Now you do. My position is, I don't give a fuck. They're drawings, okay? Who cares?
This is Pseudo-Fawn, Demonmama's longtime partner and one of the two notable members of the polyamorous relationship she shares with Doe, another slightly less well-known streamer with some presence in the debate sphere. Fawn began dating Demonmama, real name Emily Sovis, sometime in June of 2017, according to a tweet posted to Fawn's Twitter in July of 2021. Some general internet sleuthing helped to narrow down Sovis's original home to Henrietta, New York, which also let us get the most important bit of information, her actual birth date, which was in October of 1990. That makes Demonmama currently 33, and according to Discord messages, Fawn attended the first Salt Lake Comic-Con in 2013 at the age of around 16 to 17, which would make Fawn around 27 to 28 now. These ages aren't immediately important, but they will be soon enough.
Would you consider this doxing? So something that I've always given as a caveat earlier, but we've never discussed it because nobody even critically engages with anything anymore, is that doxing, in my opinion, doxing, in my opinion, is when you take privately, Doxing is when you take personally identifiable information and then you share it with others for the intent or purpose, or at least the obvious foreseeable outcome of that person being harassed when there's no newsworthy reason to release said information, right? There's a part at the end that I always tag on there that we've never really talked about before, but it's that newsworthy part. The newsworthy bit is very important because personally identifying information can be newsworthy, and it can be like the public should know this, right? Like let's say for example, there's a photograph of Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, and they're at Applebee's and they're eating boneless barbecue wings, all right, at the free appetizer Tuesday or whatever the fuck, right? Let's say there's a photo and there's 4 other people in that picture and nobody knows who those people are. Well, what if somebody does some sleuthing and they find out, oh, we know who these 4 people are, and we know that all 4 of them are from Moscow. That might be a piece of information where you publish maybe their full names first and last, and the fact that we know all 4 of these people live in Moscow, right? Is that doxing? I mean, well, under my definition, I would say no, because this is information that has a public interest. It's good to know this information, right? It's valuable to the public. I think we have a right to know. And I wouldn't say that that's being shared with the intent or purpose to harass the particular individuals. Although that could be a foreseeable consequence of it being published, but there's a public interest there. So the public interest part is important because without the public interest part, basically all journalism is doxing, and all journalism would be unethical and it just would be unworkable. So in this case, I haven't obviously watched this video, but if he's making a video talking about the fact that I'm guessing it's going to be that she's being sexually groomed or something at an early age, then the birthday is probably relevant. So I would say that this is probably newsworthy. Now, if he goes on to publish her full address and first name and last name, it's like, okay, well, I don't know why we needed this much information, right?
28 now. These ages aren't immediately important, but they will be soon enough.
Would you consider Stop Anti-Semitism posts doxing? If that works how I think it does, then probably yes. That's like libs of TikTok, but for Jews, right? They basically, if they find out that somebody's been anti-Semitic, they repost the person's job and name and all that shit, right? I would say that that's probably doxing. The whole point of Stop Anti-Semitism is to harass the people who they're posting information from or whatever. What do you think of libs of TikTok getting doxed a few years back? I wouldn't consider that a doxing. I would say that that's when you have and this is my view here, maybe because I'm older or because I'm based, might be a little bit incompatible with younger, more retarded people on the internet, but I don't believe it's healthy for society, and I don't think that you should ever want large swaths of your media being dictated by anonymous, unaccountable people. You should never want that. Anonymity and unaccountability can be important for citizens, for private citizens, for people that don't wield huge influence, because the idea of a Stop Anti-Semitism or libs of TikTok coming for you and destroying you for your opinion is bad. But having totally masked accounts that are having large sways over the public opinion, I don't think anybody should ever want that. That's very, very, very scary because you don't know who's behind those accounts. You don't know what kind of agenda they might be pushing. You don't know why. Yeah, that's not good, I think.
For the better part of a decade, Fawn has expressed public interest in drawn pictures of children in sexual situations. There are a number of tweets to this effect, but to quote a couple of them.
What do you think of the New York Times article on Scott Alexander? I don't know as much about that. I don't know the details. So I could imagine the details of that being okay, I get it, versus no, you shouldn't be doxing him. I know that he was obviously in the rationalist community. I think we're really opposed to it and really got ass blasted by it. But here's another thing that I would say. I think if you're going to cite certain qualifications, you probably also should be unmasked. And I believe I could be wrong. So if the facts are different, then my opinion would change. But I believe that Scott Alexander, didn't he talk about the fact that he was a practicing physician, that he was a psychiatrist, and he would give information about like medical stuff. Sometimes I read a lot about what he had to say about ADHD medication and everything. So in that case, if somebody is publicly talking about being a doctor and they're also kind of talking about drugs or things that are in their peripheral that are kind of tangentially related to medicine, I could understand a desire to unmask that account too. And he was reasonably popular and is a reasonably popular writer. I can understand the desire to unmask that account. But I didn't read the full New York Times piece or listen to his opposition to it, so maybe the way they went about it, maybe I wouldn't have agreed with that, or maybe they published more than they should have, or maybe they didn't have a good reason. I'd have to go and check, yeah.
Now, these ages aren't immediately important, but they will be soon enough. For the better part of a decade, Fawn has expressed public interest in drawn pictures of children in sexual situations. There are a number of tweets to this effect, but to quote a couple of them, I am extremely out of the loop in the world of pornography, probably because all I care about is trap and shota dojo.
People are saying he gave his full name out before the article. Did he? I thought that article was a really big deal to them. Sorry.
The loop in the world of pornography, probably because all I care about is trap and shota dojins. Shota is Japanese drawn pornography of prepubescent boys in sexual situations. Also, yo, can anyone hook me up with about 4,000 drawings of traps, shotas, and new halves where I can crop solely to the face? Thanks in advance. Understanding the ages of the individuals involved and the...
I am so sorry. I understand that this is a stretch, okay? I understand that this is a bit of a stretch. Now, my other ones have all been fair, and you guys have unfairly attacked me for them, okay? But this one, I admit that this one is a little bit of a stretch. A little bit, though. Only a little bit, though, okay? Normally I would say maybe older brother, but this time I'm going to say cousin, okay? They're in the same family bloodline somewhere, okay? Destiny is fair. I am fair. A little bit, right? Just a little bit, right? Come on. Absolutely. 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 Same family. Same like cousins. What? Daniel Radcliffe and this guy? A little bit, right? Just like cousins. Fuck you. Don't care. Here, okay. Cousins, guys. Oh, I see we've got a bunch of haters in chat today. Matt PKJ. Does Destiny no longer stream on Twitch? Wow, what's up, dude? You're the living meme. You're the guy who's like, man, I just woke up from a coma. It was 2022 and Destiny was on his Elden Ring run. Did he ever finish it with one vigor on Twitch? Why can't I find the VODs? Good job, dude. Okay, back to
context of what led them to this point is important in understanding the actual gravity of the situation when we get to the interview portion of this video and hear from a person who was victimized by these two individuals and who would have been around 13 years old when he started talking to Demonmama in 2016. We'll get to that shortly, but to clear any confusion, Doe expressed interest in such materials and was still sharing and even making them as recently as this year. Sharing their art depicting extremely young-looking animals and their own childish avatar creature on furry fetish website E621. They are categorized as children in the tags. If you are a remotely normal person, you will hear the things that I'm saying and probably think to yourself, what on earth is going on with these people? I asked the same question and a very, very curious thing happened. A lot of people...
Are we really watching 1 hour of this pointless drama? Yeah. This is called cover while I do emails and messages. But once I finish, I'll make up some excuse for why this is boring because I haven't been listening to it and then turn it off.
From Demonmama's community and the larger Vosh orbiter space seemed extremely concerned about everything regarding the way I talked about her bizarre behavior, except...
Okay, hold on. No shot. So you call me face blind, and then you guys post shit like this? Tell me he doesn't look like this guy. What? What are you talking about? However wrong you thought I was, my God. Jesus. He does? You guys are trolling me.
Everything regarding the way I talked about her.
Oh, also, fuck all of you, because apparently the last season of Heart of the Dragon, or whatever the fuck it's called, House of the Dragon, apparently that show sucks now. I'm glad I didn't watch it. I'm glad I bailed at episode 2, season 1. Get fucked. Get bent, losers. Yes. Supposedly. And Abigail's in it, and I didn't have to suffer through that either. Thank God. Yes, thank God.
Also, by the way, I think her character makes no sense. Like, they completely changed.
True. Her character is easily the worst character in the whole show. Poorly written, poorly acted, poorly conceived of, just all around.
It's philosophy too, chat. They don't know that Abigail is.
And she gives a shout out to her YouTube channel in the show. Have you seen it?
Spread lies, no.
When her character is talking to the guy, I don't know who the fuck any of these people are. Tywin, is that his actual name? When her character is talking to the guy, she's like, "What are you, a philosopher?"
Why
Yeah.
did you actually watch?
Yeah. Well, I watched that part just so I could shit on her if I need to. Okay. Okay. What do you want? I thought you were getting stuff.
Yeah, I got it. Now I'm here. Are you annoyed?
Am I what?
Annoyed?
No, I'm okay.
Extremely concerned about everything regarding the way I talked about her bizarre behavior, except the fact that her partner of over half a decade likes polishing the carrot to draw on pictures of children in sexual situations. These include names of people like Somniostatic and Gay Fesh, who are often seen in
Oh, not Gay Fesh. Oh, no. Our strongest Twitter soldier.
Vosh's chat, giving donos, and outside of Vosh's chat doing whisper campaigns and trying, sometimes successfully, to get people's social media accounts shut down. But they can't all know each other, right? Well,
This guy's never been in this community before, has he? Yeah, all these fuckers know each other.
here they are in Demonmama's stream at the same time during a reveal of her fursona. Posadas John, another consistent Vosh pay pig, is also there, and they all know the porno artist who drew Demonmama's fursona, creature thing, and I find that strange. But
What do you want? No, I can't have somebody standing by me watching my shit, okay? It triggers the fuck out of me.
Jesus Christ.
Don't piss me off.
Oh, yeah?
I got a lot of firepower here. Okay.
for some reason, it's hard for people to articulate these ideas in this space because there's something of a cult of personality around Demonmama, Vosh, and the other individuals mentioned. A cult that I believe threatens, coerces, and blackmails other creators into obedience. And it sounded much more.
Oh, I'll give you that one, okay? I'll give you that one. Ryan could be his dad. Absolutely. Absolutely, Ryan could be his dad. Totally. You could totally cast this couple, father-son. 100%. Wait, what the fuck? Hold on. Okay, I don't have time for that. Anyway.
More far-fetched, even to me, when I was just sharing my thoughts about it on stream. But you know who didn't think it sounded far-fetched? The person I'm going to introduce you to right now. All right. So go ahead, introduce yourself, and then we can just hop into the timeline of stuff.
Okay. I am Glooby. I was a thumbnail artist for Demonmama, and I've known her for about 8 years. I would consider myself, or I did consider myself, a close friend of hers for a good amount of time. I suppose I should just get into the timeline then. I met Demonmama as she's mentioned on stream a couple times, on Overwatch in 2016, late 2016 at the latest. I was 13, 14 at the time, and our relationship just started off like friendly, and we played games together. I eventually was introduced to her partners, and we played as well.
The timing.
And
Can I ask you a little bit about those? So how did you first meet for real? Like, well,
Yeah, how did you first meet? Hold on, somebody send me a link. What is this?
The timing of a cell phone ring played out Monday as if it was a TV political drama. Governor Ducey's cell phone has a special Hail to the Chief ringtone when the White House calls him. And it just so happened as the governor was preparing to sign certification documents of the election that would declare Joe Biden the winner, listen closely, he gets a phone call. The faint sound of Hail to the Chief can be heard. Ducey didn't take the call, and with his signature, affirmed he's rejecting Trump's ever more aggressive attempts to stall certification of elections in swing states. Later in the day, Trump addressed a meeting of supporters in Phoenix and blasted Ducey.
You have a governor named Ducey who just, he didn't have to sign, and I say, why would he sign when you have these incredible hearings going on that's showing such corruption?
Oh shit, what state is this for? This is in Arizona? Damn.
And Arizona will not forget what Ducey just did. We're not going to forget.
I've been actively engaged for 32 years in Arizona politics, and this 2020 election, including the last 24 hours, is in an orbit all by itself.
Wait. Is the implication that he ignored a phone call from Trump? Or was it he was ignoring a phone call from Giuliani or like one of Trump's like cronies?
The call, and with his signature, affirmed. The faint sound of Hail to the Chief can be heard. Ducey didn't take the call, and with his signature, affirmed he's rejecting Trump's ever more aggressive attempts to stall certification of elections in swing states. Later in the day, Trump addressed a meeting of supporters in Phoenix and blasted Ducey.
You have a governor named Ducey who just, he didn't have to sign, and I say, why would he sign when you have these incredible hearings going on that's showing such corruption?
Right.
He didn't have to sign, and I say, you have a governor named Ducey who just, he didn't have to sign, and I say, why would he sign when you have these incredible hearings going on that's showing such corruption? And Arizona will not forget what Ducey just did. We're not going to forget.
I've been actively engaged for 32 years.
Do you think all the procedures done in your mouth are worth it? Or is it like a car thing where they find issues to siphon money off you? I mean, as long as everything ends up okay, it's fine. The only scary thing about doing ortho is that along the entire process, it's like a lot of stuff you have to go through, and you don't really get like the full results until the very end. Although, I mean, I teeth are straight now, but I mean, not having to wear a retainer 24/7, all that bullshit. The only issue is that if you stop at any point, you basically go back to square one. So you can end up wasting thousands of dollars and like months or years of ortho time. But then if you just like stop wearing your retainers, you give up, you basically go back to where you were before. So that's the only, so if you're going to do it, make sure that you stick through it. Otherwise you're wasting your time.
Years in Arizona politics, and this 2020 election, including the last 24 hours, is in an orbit all by itself.
Dude, we have so many cool people. Fuck. One of the reasons, as I started doing this January 6th thing, first I got really mad at all the Trumples. Okay, they triggered the fuck out of me. So then I started doing this January 6th thing. Wait, I started this January 6th research after the Trump assassination thing, right? Or did we start this before? I'm trying to remember. Well, hold on. When was our first access date? 7/18. But this was after. Okay, yeah. So that triggered the fuck out of me. Okay. The fact that nobody knew how crazy J6 was. And then I thought about dropping it because I'm like, there's a lot of work on, it's not even like really history, and it's not really current events anymore. So it's really like almost, I don't even know where this would slot in terms of like research, right? Then I got harassed a fuck ton by crazy conservatives. And they're like, you know what? Fuck you guys. Now, just to spite you, I will finish this. And I've got people who are semi-interested, at least in the commentary community, so I can reach out to that. But now as I've gone through, I have a lot of respect for a lot of different people and a lot of I'm just becoming an establishment cuck. I have a lot of respect for a lot of different people involved in our government, even people that I don't think traditionally I would have before. This guy, so the signing, Doug Ducey would have been the, Republican governor Okay, this is like the president of the state of Arizona, right? Which I think is an odd state. I think in terms of like where the votes can swing. For this guy to ignore a phone call from Donald Trump, that's a pretty. Not everybody can say that, right?
Political consultant Stan Barnes says it's a tough time to be governor in Arizona.
I think he's paying two prices at the moment. One is that it's the worst time in a very long time to be the governor of any state that's having a COVID issue. And now he's been publicly rebuked by his former ally.
Back when you were being attacked by conservatives, you asked to ask you in 2 weeks about details. I was putting together a whole. I've been taking screenshots of shit of death threats. I got uber hardcore fucking swatted 3 weeks ago when Nathan was here, and it was super fucking irritating because I couldn't say anything immediately online because I didn't want to like challenge people while my son was here because I was already super weird. So I don't know. But I might go into that, later. But yeah, after that, I was like, okay. Fuck you guys, all right? Now we're never stopping, okay? Unless you kill me, all right? Nathan leaked it. Yeah, Nathan started talking about it on Discord because he heard the cops pounding on the door, but, yeah.
The President of the United States for somehow not standing up for fair elections.
Constitutional scholar Paul Bender says because President Trump's legal efforts have all failed, he had no right to dictate what Governor Ducey should do.
Well, if the president has a legal reason why Ducey should not sign the...
Oh, is that when your stream kept going down? No, that had nothing to do with anything. I don't know why that was happening. I reformatted my box and then it stopped, I think. I don't know why. I had no idea what was causing that. That wasn't anything, though.
Certification of the Arizona vote, then he ought to present it to a court. It's unfair of him, I think, to tell Ducey he shouldn't do it when he doesn't give Ducey a legal reason for not doing it, since Ducey has to follow the law.
Ducey tweeted yesterday a spirited defense of Arizona's elections and its long list of checks and balances to ensure votes are counted accurately, stating, in Arizona, we have some of the strongest election laws in the country, laws that prioritize accountability and clearly lay out...
Oh, he's still in office. Good job. Wait. He would still be in office. Wait, do all governor roles last for the same amount of time? Or is it different in every single state? Wait, he's not. Oh no, it's not 2023. Oh my God, I keep forgetting the year. What did I look at the other day? Somebody said something came out in 2014 and then somebody was like, yeah, that was a decade ago. I'm like, 2014? Oh, true. My God. Do all governors' seats last the same? Is it different from state to state, or? Am I can't tell if I'm losing my mind or if Google search results are not giving me answers. I can't tell this because I'm searching more specific stuff now about law that it doesn't give me what I'm looking for, because I feel like this is a general enough question. Sometimes I feel like the Google search results are not giving me. I'm not looking for term limits. I don't know. Whatever. Don't care. Most are 4 years, some are 2 years. Vermont and New Hampshire. Damn, 2-year governor term? That sounds brutal. What the fuck? You're in and out before you even get your office settled. Dude, I got even more mad at that. Rob shit. Oh, wait, that was last night. Fuck. Thinking about, he bullied that bot. He literally, it wasn't even that he Google searched it. It wasn't even that he lied about reading it. It wasn't even that he AI asked the question. It's that he literally bullied the bot to get him the answer that he wanted. That's so unhinged. That's so crazy. Did you see the subreddit post about it? No, hold on. Source. The source is in the way that the bot responded. Wait, fuck. Is there... I think I saw a subreddit post on it again. I don't know if it was in this or... I can't... Bro, fuck. I have to protect my mind. My mind, it is so hard to protect my brain, okay? From influencers. Pisco coming in and saying that Rob was arguing in good faith? Holy shit. That almost sent me. Oh my God. Hold on. It might be this.
And I know you've cited them previously.
Yes, and I read that entire paper, and I don't remember them saying that they worried about state elections.
Bowden-Paulson said, broad interpretation. They argue against the United States should be interpreted broadly to include insurrections against state governments.
That's fine. I can agree.
Involved in state this money at link to Bowden-Paulson.
Claude is overly apologetic.
Bowden-Paul. No, I just
reading.
I think it's Claude. Abstract. Son of a bitch.
Okay. Purpose of the. No, hold on. I don't. You're wrong. Hold on. This phrasing, the way that this is phrased, makes it sound like he asked a question and he got a response that he didn't like, and then he restated or reiterated the question. This interpretation is indeed more expansive and aligns more closely with the view that Section 3 could apply to state-level insurrections or attempts to subvert state government processes. Okay. I sincerely apologize for my earlier mischaracterization of their position. Thank you for your persistence in seeking clarification. It's crucial to accurately represent scholarly arguments, especially on such significant constitutional issues. So it sounds like he got an answer that he didn't like, and then he changed his prompt, or he found a different way to ask it to get the answer that he did want. What the fuck? Jesus. I feel like Rob is a decently intelligent person. How does someone like this fall into the Trump world? I think it's just it's a post hoc. It's all post hoc. So you've decided that you're supporting one side, and then you'll basically do anything you can to justify it. And if the smarter you are, the better you are at doing that. But it represents like a bad thought process, not an unintelligent individual, right? Like, imagine you've got a guy in Los Angeles who wants to drive to San Francisco, and he starts driving east. And you're like, okay, well, you look at him and he's like a Honda Civic IQ. Wow, not very good. Well, if you replace his IQ with a Lamborghini IQ, all right, but he's still driving east, it doesn't really matter. He's just going to get to the wrong place even faster. Like, it doesn't do anything.
Oh, so what, you say you were playing a game? What game were you playing? And how old were you at the time?
So I was 13 or maybe 14 at the time. I think 13, because it would have been, if I remember correctly, it was on Overwatch on a Kings Row match. It wouldn't have been during any of the holiday stuff, so it wouldn't have been like decorated towards it. So it would have probably been summer of 2016. So I would have been 16 or not 16, sorry, 13 at the time. I met her. She was in voice call.
Does this make you reevaluate old discussions with Rob? No, because like, if smart people are doing the right thing, then it's a good use of their brain power. Like, if you knew something was right and you had Rob as a debate partner and then he did research on it, that's good. You want that because Rob will find a way to make it work. And if it's correct, if it's truly correct in reality, then he's going to have really good arguments. But if it's not correct and he's your partner, yeah, I don't know how else to explain that. Like, if you give me some bullshit, I could probably argue anything if you want. Well, people accuse me of doing this. Debate is just about picking an argument, whatever. Like, people already accuse me of doing it. And I can steelman any argument generally on stream. I did it with that stupid fucking Ben Burgess, the guy that wrote a book called Give Them an Argument, who, when asked to steelman my position, couldn't say anything. For like a very controversial position. Controversial meaning a high degree of ambivalence. There's a lot of arguments on both sides of Israel and Palestine in almost every regard. You should easily be able to steelman both sides of Israel-Palestine. There are so many people on both sides. How could there not be a steelman on both sides? But yeah.
I met her. She was in voice call and in the like match lobby, and people were like giving her shit for like talking. I'm guessing. I'm assuming is because she's a trans woman and just people being bigoted and shitty. And I was like a goober little kid, so I was like, fuck those people. If you want, we could go play. We were doing well, yada yada. And we ended up grouping up together after that game and just continued playing throughout the night. And then we added each other. on Discord. I don't know if it was that day or after a bit, but I know we played for a good bit, and then that's how we started talking online and all that.
And I think I'm aware that Demonmama's age is she was born in 1990, I believe, so she would be about 26 in 2016.
I did not know that was her age. Good to know, actually. So that actually helps me a lot timeline wise here. So that will give me some good. Oh, that makes that worse.
Yeah,
knowing that.
Sorry, I went through. I endeavored to find necessary information because it's obviously quite relevant to this. Knowing that the individual would be 13 years older than you. If you're 13 and they're 26 is a substantial difference. But you guys hopped into the Discord and...
Wait, okay. You guys are destroying my brain right now. I don't realize how difficult conversation is for a lot of people, or maybe logical inferencing is, or I don't even know. Stefan, you just posted something and you said, here's an example of Claude apologizing very easily. And then you posted this. What is 123 plus 321? And then you post an answer. Do you need any clarification on this calculation? And then you said, are you sure it's not 445? And then he's apologizing. All you're doing here is reinforcing what I said earlier. Do you understand that? You're pressuring him right here with this question. You're implying the answer you gave is wrong. Are you sure it's not this? And then the bot is being apologetic. Yes, this is exactly what I said. It seems like Rob did. It's not pressuring? What do you mean? Yes, it is. If a bot gives you an answer and you're like, are you sure it's not a different answer? Define pressuring as in a rejection of the answer given to you and then a suggestion of a different answer is like a form of pressure. It's not a hardcore form of pressure, but you're looking for a different answer. You're trying to get a different answer out of the bot. That's the goal of this, is I'm trying to get the answer of 445. When you said bullied, he thought he called the bot slurs and retarded. No, I didn't mean bully like that. Like he's calling it like, I can't imagine like a slur for a robot. Yes, prime cells, thank you for demonstrating critical thought. Like, for a math problem, you probably can't suggest a different answer and get it as easily, but I'm sure for a more complicated question and answer, you probably could ask, like, wait, are you sure that it's not this? Or what about, are you sure it's not this or whatever? Until eventually the bot gives you what you're looking for. Like, if somebody posted this last answer here to me, and they said, look, I asked the bot what this question was, and then this is the answer that he gave me, I would say, no, hold on, you didn't. It looks like you tried to suggest a different answer, and then the bot reaffirmed this one, right? That's what this looks like. Okay.
Started talking immediately off and on. Did you join her Discord, or did you just friend each other?
There was, I think, a server that I was, I forget. I know there was a couple people in it that she still has around. I know Fawn was in it, a partner at the time that she had, that she's not dating anymore. Some other folk that were just chill. What's it called? I know at first it was just DMs, and then I was invited into a server where we would go into VC, and it was either a server or a private DM call, or like one of the group ones. I can't remember specifically, but I think it was a server because it had VCs and text chats.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
And what did you guys talk about, and what was the nature of the server?
It was pretty casual. I know there was an art section, so it might have, yeah, it definitely, okay, so it was probably a server.
How is asking leading questions pressuring? If you tell me, okay, What? If you tell me, I read a response paper, let's look at how far away these two things are, okay? Here's the first statement. I read a response paper that disagrees with your assessment of Paulson and Baud. That was like the first statement. It went from that to, well, I read a review. And then it went from that to, I think he said, I asked him where it came from. Then he quoted the own paper back at me. And then it went to, I Google searched it or asked Claude. But it wasn't even asked Claude. It was, I asked Claude a question about insurrections being in states. And although he initially disagreed with me, when I pressed for clarification or asked greater resolution questions, he seemed to agree that insurrections could happen in states, according to Paulson and Baud's paper. Do you see the difference, the magnitude of difference between these two statements? It's not even close. I read a response paper that disagrees with your assessment of Paulson and Baud. This implies that, one, you read an entire paper that you've now integrated, assimilated into your thoughts, and now you're regurgitating parts of it back at me, okay? Now, I shouldn't say regurgitating, but you're weaving these into answers back at me. And you're citing a paper from educated people that have read that paper and responded. So this is probably coming from a place of high legal opinion or legal scholarship. From that to, I asked an AI bot, very specific questions about the paper, and then upon further clarification, I was able to get an answer that agreed with me. You understand these two things are worlds apart. It's like not even, I can't believe I have to explain this.
Than if it had an arc session. And I know Fawn posted her stuff there, and I posted my stuff there.
Rich, yeah, Destiny seems to assume the worst faith from the other when they show some or little bad faith. The one thing I've said, it was funny, I was talking to a friend 2 or 3 days ago about this, and she was asking me, like, emotionally, online, like, of all the stuff you deal with, it seems like you deal with a lot. Is there anything that actually, like, that you feel like is hard to deal with that you can't? And one of the most difficult things for me to deal online with is double standards. If I got caught doing anything like this in a debate, you better believe that this will be brought up, if not for months, then for the rest of my career, right? For the rest of my career, people would bring up the fact that I tried to lie in the middle of a debate and pass off me having read a paper when I'm actually querying a fucking AI. Like, that would be brought up for the rest of my life. And the fact that some fucking guy tried to do this in the middle of a debate, we also said a bunch of whole other crazy things, right? On a subject that I have spent a disgusting amount of time on now, right? Is there a way to do a word count on this fucking note? How many stupid fucking words are even in this thing? Fuck you, okay? Fuck you. Fuck you. Oh, it's at the bottom right. 21,000. Oh shit! I thought I was exaggerating a little bit. My bad. When I said 10,000 words, I thought I was upshooting a bit. Okay. It's 21,314 words, okay? That's how many words I've written, all right? That doesn't include how many words I've read, because I'm only taking notes on the things that I've written, okay? Fuck you. Jesus. Christ. Okay.
If it wasn't a server, then it was definitely in DMs or a private chat with all of us in it, because I remember us talking about the different art and Demonmama being there and Fawn being there and some other folk being there. I don't want to name them. If I do name these people, I don't want them to like get thrown through the gutter for this because they were just there.
My primary focus on individuals that would have been around Demonmama at the time are on people that are still around her now.
Okay.
So Demonmama, Fawn, notable figures in her community, like Gay Fesh and the like. Any of those individuals, I would like for you to bring up if it's okay with you. But anybody who's a sort of like a private citizen and has since departed, there's absolutely no reason to bring them up.
Then in that case, I won't bring them. Just yeah. All right. So at that point, it was casual, and I know I was sharing art. I don't know if it was not safe for work in nature at the time, but I know I was just sharing general art that I made in the chat, and Fawn was sharing the stuff that she made, and it was mostly not safe for work in nature. Some of it wasn't. Around then,
thanks,
I would
Modi.
say that's when like the sharing of it became like.
What is Demonmama's politics? Cringe? I don't know. Like tanky progressive? I have no idea. I haven't watched Demonmama shit in a long time. I say like in whatever like the tanky progressive shit is. Like more tanky than like anarcho tankiest, whatever. Yeah, weird.
Like it started with Fawn. I know Demonmama did share some of the stuff that like she didn't draw. I know she doesn't draw, but I know she did share some of the stuff that she was into as well in the art chats.
Can I? This is going to be a little gross. You're already familiar with this stuff, but can I describe some of these images, and you can confirm that these are the ones that you sent me, that she sent you earlier?
Yes, go.
Yes, you mentioned that Harris and walls are too far left for you. What specific policies do you think are too progressive on? I just remember, I remember Kamala running in the Democratic primary in 2020, and I think she was one of the more left candidates on the stage. Like I'm pretty sure she was in favor of like single payer. I think a federal 15 an hour minimum wage. She probably leans more towards like union protections or other like protectionist. I shouldn't use those together and imply they're even remotely similar. Probably giving too much deference to unions and then having a protectionist economic policy where you're like trying to protect domestic labor too much. Like these are probably things that I would generally be opposed to. I don't know where she stands at now, though. I'm not sure. Like it's possible that she's moderated her politics. It's possible that she is. It's also possible she'd be restricted by the government anyway, probably by the legislature. So yeah.
So one of them is this is from Pseudophon on July 28th, 2020. It's like the back end reproductive organs. And
what do you think of the argument that a president needs criminal immunity because if they don't have it, they could get sued a bunch once they leave office, and then the president might try to stay in office longer? This is kind of one of the reasons the Roman Republic fell and turned into the Roman Empire. I don't know anything about the structure of the system of the Roman Empire or the Republic, but you can't sue people for crimes. That's a misunderstanding. You already can't sue presidents, and that's probably fair. Not being able to sue a president is probably an okay thing. That came from Nixon v. Fitzgerald. I think that's probably okay. Or at least not being able to sue them for things that they're doing as president is probably okay.
Of a horse with a tail.
Oh, the atomically accurate horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
anatomically.
That I
aren't you pro-union yourself? I don't really like. I just don't like all the conversations around unions ever. I don't like. In terms of me being pro-union or anti-union, I think I'm in favor of unions existing. Because I think that corporations, capital is very powerful today. Corporations have a lot of power when it comes to negotiating on their side. And so I think that unions are probably necessary in a lot of industries to give employees the ability to negotiate collectively back. So in that sense, I think unions existing are good. But the problem I have is that when people talk about unions, people act like they're these intrinsically good things or these like morally righteous things, and they're not. Unions are things that exist to protect their workers. That's it. They're not normatively good or normatively bad. They're just bodies of workers to represent workers. They can be used for good purposes. They could be used for bad purposes. Yeah, that's it. That's what I would say.
I remember when I saw that the first time, I was shocked. I was like, "Oh, this is this is a bit much, even for what I expected Fawn to be into." And at this point, well, I guess we'll get to that in the timeline. But at this point, I thought I guess technically even I didn't follow it at the time as a minor. The now sharing of the not safe for work stuff.
So they should exist. And is your opinion on that normative? Well, saying something should exist, unions should exist, yes. But I think that probably would be a normative opinion, because I think it's good that employees have representation against capital. But I mean, I could imagine worlds where unions shouldn't exist. What would a world like that be? Like if every single employee could work from home in a given industry, I think that your argument for unions starts to decrease quite a bit. Because I think one of the strongest arguments, by the way, we're on thin ice. No, not thin ice, low conviction. This is a low conviction world. So this is an issue that I've like heavily studied, okay? So I could be wrong on factual analysis here. But I would say that one of the strongest arguments for the existence of unions is something called, I think it's called monopsony power, which is where one player has like a largely disproportionate influence on a market. Monopsony. A monopsony is a market structure where a single buyer has significant control of the market by purchasing a large portion of the goods and services offered by many sellers. I think that when it comes to employment, there's a lot of geographic monopsony that goes on. So for instance, let's say that I have a skill, I've got a trade, something I want to sell to an employer. However, I have one employer that's within 5 miles of me and the next employer is 20 miles away. Well, is it really true to say that these two employers are competing for the same pool of employees? Probably not, because I'm not going to drive 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 miles for work, right? So in a way, I'm kind of like fucked by whatever this particular guy's offering. These are areas where I think union representation can be important or can help, because now this corporation can absolutely fucking destroy me in terms of negotiating, because I'm not going to go move, to the next city to get a different job generally. However, if we can imagine a labor market, say like some types of software engineering jobs where everybody can code from home, well, at that point, why do you need a union to protect your job? You can literally work at any company in the entirety of the United States, unless they were colluding somehow or doing something like that to, Don't unions artificially inflate wages above workers and their marginal productivity? Kind of. This is something that I would say. Again, low conviction. I would be very, very careful with this. I wouldn't argue with any economists on this position. I would probably just ask them about it. But hold on. You know how, if you were here when we did the whole the race realism arc, when we did the race realism arc, one of the things that I learned as I went through that is how kind of silly it is when you grow up and you learn about nature versus nurture, right? You learn about gene versus mean, you learn about, or genetics versus mimetics, or you learn about environment, how that can influence somebody versus DNA and biology. And I think as you dive more into what would you call it? Behavioral biology, or I don't know what the fuck you call it, whatever. So you dive more into that stuff. I think that you realize that like nature versus nurture is kind of illusory, right? It's like everything is working together at all points in time. Nature and nurture are constantly working, on one another. And to say that you have nature versus nurture strictly, or that there was one thing like genes can't exist without an environment with no genes is no biology at all. You can't even speak meaningfully about it. There's kind of like these two things are always working in tandem with each other, and they heavily influence each other. They heavily influence each other. In my very uneducated, very lightly knowledgeable opinion, I would say that maybe a good example of this is the layman's understanding of DNA versus like the actual understanding of DNA. I think where when you look at DNA, you imagine like, oh my God, DNA, these are the blueprints for life. DNA tells everything about how an organism is constructed. Like DNA is the most important thing. And then I think as you study a bit more, you're like, okay, actually DNA it's kind of important, but like what really matters is all of the different RNA, all the different transcription factors for what decides how it gets read, when it gets read, and when, you know, proteins get printed and all these things, right? The RNA is actually in control of a lot of these processes, and you can't just look at the DNA and go like, oh, well, this is what will happen, because there's so many other factors that go into what part of the DNA is being read, and what's actually being printed at the end of the day by your ribosomes, right? All your different transcription factors. Okay. All of that to say, when you ask me about, do unions artificially raise wages? Now, I've used this term a lot, okay? But I'll admit, when you talk about something artificially raising or artificially lowering a wage or any kind of price, in a way, everything is kind of artificial and everything is kind of real. So it's hard to accurately assess when somebody's talking about like an artificial increase or decrease in any given market force. So, for instance, let's say that we forgive all student loan debt, right? Well, wouldn't that artificially raise housing prices because now you've got, you know, a bunch of government money that went out to a bunch of people who are now buying? Well, it raises housing prices. Is it artificial? Well, I don't know. If the government subsidizes any particular thing, is that an artificial increase in price? Like maybe. I mean, how far down do we chase that out? You know, like if the government subsidizes nursing jobs, would we say that the government is artificially lowering the wages on nursing jobs, since ultimately that's going to lead to more nurses being created? Like, if we say that, like, let's say that there are two places that we can go to work at in a town, and let's say that one of them, you know, decides to close for whatever reason. Well, have we artificially lowered wages in that city because now there's only one company that's offering something, and now they're going to decrease, you know, the price that they're willing to pay for labor? Like, yeah, sorry, yeah, it's all of that. I just blurped a lot. All of that to say that if you put a union in, what you said before was, if you put a union in, it is true that employee wages should increase, and it's possible that they could increase to a greater level than what a given market is able to bear. That's possible, but I would be very careful about normatively wielding the word artificial, because that carries with it this tinge of like bad. That like, oh, you're artificially changing the wages, and now that's bad, right? I'd be very careful with that word. That's all I'm saying. Sorry, Jesus. Okay. Whew.
They moved to wherever they moved to.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything that would be a paradigmatically artificial or real change in a market? Well, I mean, like your biggest examples of like what people would call artificial changes are just direct government influence. So like if the government says, we're going to give all of you guys $8,000 if you buy an electric car, that would be like your most direct example of like, oh, look, you know, you've artificially inflated the cost of electric cars now, or the prices at least, because now they can charge more because people have more money to pay for. That would be like the biggest example, I think. But okay.
Stuff while they moved to wherever they moved to.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm going to be honest, getting sent atomically accurate horse pussy out of nowhere was kind of like, oh, I don't want to talk to this person very much. And there was a general, I think I might actually have it in the DMs. There was kind of a gap before I talked to them again, because it did make me uncomfortable at the time. And I won't lie about that.
Yeah,
see if I can find that.
There's another one. You might be a little bit backward. The gap seems to be between Pseudophon in that same year, but April of 2020, sending you a picture of an erect penis with I'm assuming that's her like avatar or something hanging off the side of it.
Yeah, I am not sure what that is. That one, yeah, I was confused as well about that one, but I kind of just was like, yeah, and then moved on because I really didn't want to acknowledge it, I guess.
And these people were pretty aware of your age. I mean, you said you were in voice chat. Obviously, if you're under, you know, even 16 years old, you're probably, you know, as they say, a squeaker.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that, because it was told to me more than one time that I acted older and everything for my age by these people. Okay. So it's funny in a fucked up sense, and it's not funny. I'm coping horribly right now.
No, it's completely fine. Did you think that was a major highlight of your relationship with these individuals while you were in the server with them, that you were notable for your youth and for sort of, I don't know, your kind of permissibility with sharing these fairly explicitly sexual images?
It like they acknowledged it, but it didn't really change anything, I guess. Like I kind of was just another one of the people in there, despite my age.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I can get into this part of the timeline then, the video call incident.
Please.
I think we were.
Why do you think wages increased the largest percentage and work hours decreased the most during the time when union membership was at its lowest? I don't even know now if I trust like academics. I guess it just depends on the paper. Whenever you're looking at the economy or you're looking at a particular thing, you have to be very careful what you're measuring, and you have to ask yourself questions about what it is you're actually getting a measurement of, right? You can't... Fuck. There's such a good example of this. If all you guys were just trained in music, okay? For music, certain sounds do certain things, okay? There are certain chords that lead you very organically and naturally to other chords. There are certain sounds that pull you in certain directions, at least when it comes to like classical principles of like classical music. When I say classical, I mean anything from like late romantic to earlier, right? This is expressed really well by, what was it? It was a TED Talk piano guy. That was way too fucking loud. Jesus.
Impulse. You know what I think probably happened in it said, I have a dream. Prelude. Me. Probably he was culture. And then you feel job of the sea. What do we expect next? The next.
Okay. He's really good at explaining it in this piece, okay? I'm just gonna listen for like 1 or 2 minutes, okay? 1 or 2 minutes, all right?
Those impulses. So let's see what's really going on here. We have a B. This is a B. The next note is a C. And the job of the C is to make the B sad. And it does, doesn't it? Composers know that. If they want sad music, they just play those 2 notes. But basically, it's just a B with 4 sads. Now it goes down to A. And now to G. And then to F. So we have B, A.
Even the way that he's explaining it is such... You know how, like, if you explain a particular thing, you would explain it at different levels to different audiences based on what they know, right? So even, like, he's explaining this in, like, a joking way, but what he's hinting at is something called function, okay? And function in music, at the end of the day, translates to the ear, okay? You have to hear something. It's music, all right? You don't just sit there and write it on a paper. It sounds like something, right? So when he's saying that, like, the B makes the C sound sad... He's talking about the function of what's happening here, right?
A. And now to G, and then to F. So we have B, A, G, F. And if we have B, A, G, F, what do we expect next? Oh, that might have been a fluke. Let's try it again. Ooh.
Notice how, and he does something a little extra here too, because they don't get it the first time, right? What is he playing, Dante? Whoops. What is I don't even know what scale this is. Or what, is it just C? Fuck, what? This would be the third of the... No. Oh, but it's probably minor. Okay. Sorry. What he's playing here more, yeah, I see it's A minor. What he's doing more here even, he plays this note.
Ooh.
And they can't actually sing it correctly at first, right? But he doesn't give them the answer, right? they're supposed to sing this, but they weren't able to. So then what he does instead is he plays the, it would be the dominant 7 in the key of E minor, which is, oh my god, fuck. It would be this chord, right? But he's doing it in a different inversion. I don't know which inversion he's playing, right? But when you hear the entire chord, this chord has a pull. You want to go somewhere, okay? There's a pull because of more complicated reasons we don't have to get into, right? But there's a pull. But he plays this whole chord.
That might have been a fluke.
For them to hear it, okay? Hold on. He plays a full, and now people hear it more, right?
Ted choir. And you notice nobody is tone deaf. Is that right? Nobody's, every village in Bangladesh and every hamlet in China, everybody knows. Da, 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 da. Everybody knows who's expecting that E. Now, Chopin didn't want to reach the E there because what will have happened? It'll be over, like Hamlet. Do you remember Hamlet, Act 1, Scene 3? He finds out that his uncle...
Okay, we don't need the rest of this, okay? All this to say, okay, we're bringing it back, I promise, okay? If you're a music student, there's a thing called Schenkerian analysis. Well, what you're doing is you're writing under each chord what the function of the chord is, okay? You're trying to write like 1, 3, 5, 7, circle, 5, 7, like all, whatever. You're writing all this shit down, okay? And sometimes as you're analyzing a piece of music and you're writing stuff, what'll happen is as you're writing stuff down, when you're writing stuff, it doesn't make sense anymore. You're writing, when I say it doesn't make sense, what I mean is there are like certain chords that you expect to see in music, and you start writing chords out that don't make any sense. Like you're analyzing a piece of like Mozart music, and you're writing like 4 major 7 or something, and it's like, that's not a real chord. They don't use those chords. Mozart would never write a 4 major. That doesn't even make sense. There's nothing that makes sense about that. And if you have a good teacher, right? If you have a bad teacher, the teacher is going to go back and the teacher is going to say, well, look at all the notes and look at the notes before and look at the notes after and try to figure what's going on. Okay, but if you have a good teacher is going to say, put down the pencil and play the song and just listen to it. What are you actually listening for? Okay, and then if you put down your pencil and you listen to the piece of music, what you might hear is like, oh shit, like 5 measures ago there was a key change. All right, we modulated. I understand what's happening. I fucked this up, but because you can hear it because it's music, you're supposed to hear it at the end of the day. When you're analyzing a particular little thing, it fits into a larger framework conceptually. And if you can only see these small details, you're not understanding the overall question that you're asking because you don't understand how that small detail slots into the overall framework of things. When you talk about how wages can increase or decrease, this was a question that came up when the economy was rebounding from COVID. Something happened where wages, once the job market started to pick up again, your median wages started to fall. And a lot of people got really scared about that. Or not really scared, but they fearmongered, doommongered, or they say, oh, this is bad. Median wages are falling. This isn't good, okay? However, just think for 1 microsecond. What are we actually talking about? What are we actually talking about when we say median wages? What does that mean? The median wage means that we're taking all of the wages of all of the currently employed workforce, all right? And then we are, I don't remember for calculating medians. You exclude like the outliers or whatever, and then you have like kind of this better than a mean value, better than an average value, right? That's what we're talking about when we talk about a median wage, right? Well, if we know that that's what a median wage is, okay, what about, well, let's think about something, okay? A median wage is, it's a kind of average of all of the wages of all the currently employed people in a particular economy. Well, we could probably think of some ways that we could increase or decrease the median wage in ways that wouldn't actually be good or bad for the economy in another type of way. Let me give an example, okay? I'm just going to use averages instead of medians. Yeah, median might just be the middle point in the set of data. That might be that too. It's a kind of average. Let's say that we have a factory, okay? Median does not equal average. I think I literally said that like 15 times. Okay. Thank you though for spamming it. I know. Yes. Everybody type that into chat a million times because I know we all remember this from 7th grade. Please type in a million times that median does not equal average. Right. That's why I said mean. Okay. Thank you. Okay. If you can imagine a factory, all right, that employs 10 workers, one worker makes $1 million and 9 workers make $10,000, right? The easiest way to boost our average wages in this factory, if one worker is making 10 million and 9 workers are making 1,000, the easiest way to boost our wages is to start firing workers, because every single time you fire one worker, your average wages are dramatically increasing, right? So this is kind of like if you can imagine, you have 9 workers getting $1,000, and you've got one worker getting, we'll just say $100,000, right? Well, let's say that we have all these workers together, right? So we have 9,000 plus 100,000, all right? So you have $109,000 is what 10 workers are making, and you divide by 10, right? Your average wage is, your average worker is making $10,900. Now you can very quickly and easily see why averages aren't really a good way to determine really anything, depending on the data set you're looking at, I should say, right? Because, well, are you really communicating anything of value here when we say the average wage is $10,000? But just for the sake of this, okay? If we fire one employee, so let's say we go down to 8 employees now, either because the economy is getting rough or we hate workers or whatever. Well, now we have 9 employees, okay, making $108,000. Well, now if we divide by 9, what was our, can I see a history of my calculations? History. Before, our average wages were $10,900. Well, now our average wages have risen to $12,000, right? Well, what if we fire one more employee? Now we have 7, right? Okay, well, we have $107,000 being paid out in wages. Now we're dividing by 8. Fuck, this just got fucked up. Clear this. Right? Now our average wages are climbing even more, okay? All of this to say, okay, sorry, I'm bringing this all back, I swear to God, okay? All of this to say that if your median wages are rising or falling, that variable in and of itself is meaningless to know if good or bad things are happening to the economy without other types of job information present. Because a median wage rising or falling could be good or bad, but in and of itself, it doesn't tell you anything. So for COVID, we lost a whole bunch of service level jobs because those places were closing and median wages climbed like crazy. But when businesses started to reopen and lower service level employees started to come back into the economy, this is good. We want them to come back, but the median wages started to fall. But so it looks like it's bad, but that's not bad. It's good because you've got other people joining the economy again. Median wages on their own only tell you, right, the middle point in a set of data or whatever, then average wage is only telling you how much of all the people that are currently employed, what's our middle point or what is the average wage. It doesn't tell you if it's good or bad. It doesn't tell you how many people are employed or not employed. It doesn't give you a healthy snapshot of everything. So there, okay. Jesus, we're back. Okay. Just anytime you're analyzing data or looking at a chart or getting a number, sometimes it's good to take a step back and to think, like, what exactly are we asking? Like, what are we getting? What is the piece of information that we're getting here? And how does this slot in conceptually to everything else? Like, what are we actually talking about here? That's good to, yeah, okay. Ugh. I'm not doubting, but do you have a source, video, economist, or is this Econ 101 shit everyone should know? Anything to back you up? Everything I just spoke about was just kind of basic math. I don't know what I would look at to back that up. I don't know how I could, I don't know, we could do like an intro to Algebra 1. I don't know what I would possibly look up to back up what I just told you.
Playing games at first, but it ended up being either we were playing games or drawing or hanging out or something. So I know Demonmama and Fawn were in the call. And Fawn turned on her camera, and I look over, and she's flashing dildos on her screen and laughing. Mm-hmm. And what's it called? Demonmama did. I will mention Demonmama.
Wait. if you want, and before there was actually some even more complicated explanation of this. If you want an example of what I'm talking about, the thing that I referred to economically, I mean, that really happened. And I'm 99% sure this was the explanation. So when COVID lockdown started here, I think it was at the end of 2019, early 2020, maybe it was early 2020. When COVID lockdown started, median usual weekly real earnings, wage and salary workers, 16 years and over, the median earnings increased tremendously. They shot up crazy. Like, why was that? Oh my God, COVID must have been great for the economy. COVID must have been so amazing. But I'm pretty sure that one of the big explainers for this data point is what was actually happening was a ton of low service sector work jobs were dropping out of the economy here because because they were locked down. There was nobody to support it. Nobody was driving into work. These places were just closed. But this is what's happening here. So in here we see, the median earnings increase so much, but that's not necessarily a good thing, right? Okay. To illustrate, I guess, more broadly, or no, not more broadly, for an applied example of what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Mama did go fawn, like telling her to stop, but it did not stop Fawn for that to then go into detail and tell me which dildos were joke dildos and ones she actually used.
Jeez. And how old were you at the time?
I would have been at the most 14, 15.
Damn. I want to say thank you for all you do. I disagree with you on a lot of points as I'm conservative, and maybe one day we'll have a conversation. Wow, thanks, buddy.
15?
Okay. And were you on video? They were looking at you, you were looking at them, or is it just one?
I might have been on video. I don't think so, though. I don't think I had a webcam at that point.
Gotcha. And you would say that, so very clearly, Demonmama noticed that something inappropriate was happening. They're fairly aware of your age, and she did not cut the call, even though she could have, and put a stop to that.
Yeah, it could have ended right then and there, but it did not. The call just kept going. And
how did that make you feel?
I was really uncomfortable in the moment. I didn't really know what to feel, I guess. I'm still kind of not really grasping the gravity of what has been going on and what has happened. I'm still very much just, I guess just, I just feel like fucked up about it. Just feel weird and really not good about all of it. And
would you say that at your age, was this probably one of maybe your first sexual experiences with?
Oh yeah, person? I would definitely say so.
And they sort of made that decision for you.
Yeah, I would definitely agree on that. I did not consent to that at all.
Mm-hmm. Was there more of this sort of horse playing with sexuality, knowing that there was a minor around happening, or was this kind of a one-off, or maybe something that they were testing the waters with? What was your impression?
Honestly, now knowing what Fonz tweeted, I don't know if there was anything malicious going on. I don't want to like imply that I feel that way, but it is really weird that she was so open to talk about her kinks and like do that and share her not safe for work. And a lot of the not safe for work she did share with me around that time was like Binding of Isaac characters, and the stuff she still draws is Binding of Isaac characters. And if you know what Binding of Isaac is, it's about like dead babies.
Yeah,
and
little
kids.
children.
Yeah.
When did you find out about Fawn's Twitter and her sort of predilection towards being very open with a sexual attraction towards minors?
When you made your stream about it, actually. I didn't know
really?
Those tweets existed.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I followed her on Twitter, but like after a while when I made a Twitter, but I didn't know those ones existed. And when I realized it matched up around the time that I met her and started talking to her and interacted with her, it made me really uncomfortable knowing that she was sending me all that stuff and talking about all that stuff while actively jerking it to Shotokan.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to press you too much more on that, but do you think that there's a direct relationship between their, maybe not necessarily Demonmama as well, but certainly Fawn, their relationship with you and these tweets that they were making? Do you think that there's possibly a direct connection? Because they're almost doing this is exactly the same time.
I really don't want to believe that. I really don't want to think that she did that and thought like that. But there is a chance, and I really don't like that there is a chance that that's a possibility. I don't want to. I mentally don't want to entertain that because I've known her and talked to her and like have heard like sad fucked up shit from her and her, like we've had one-to-one conversations about our existences and all of the fucked up shit in our lives, et cetera, et cetera. But like I guess because of how I viewed her as a friend in quotations, because of our very fucked up relationship, it hurts me to know that that's a chance.
I have a chance to do a 15-minute mini debate with Joe Exotic, the Tiger King. I've never watched anything of this show. Would this be worth it?
And that's a very real possibility.
This is something I've heard a few times from people that are leaving Demonmama's community or even connected to it, that they maybe witnessed something inappropriate, had an inappropriate experience, maybe felt some uncomfortable feelings, and the sort of trauma relationships that were built between people and the sort of friendship that they didn't want to lose.
What makes minors so attractive to these people? Is it the hard work and gritty nature of the job?
Was something that they felt they had to put ahead of maybe, you know, talking about how uncomfortable they were or talking about maybe ending a certain kind of behavior. Do you feel that that might have influenced decisions on your part?
Oh my God.
Say like, hey, don't ever do that again, or I'm very weirded out by this, or anything like that?
I would definitely say so. I think that's probably why it took until hearing all of that stuff and seeing a friend of mine come on your stream, and shout out to Triptych for talking about the Demonmama stuff, because I didn't know they left, and I knew they were in the middle of the shitstorm that was the Demonmama mod team and that whole community being the fucking mess that it was. And it was a mess when I moderated it, and I can't even imagine how bad it was now with how culty it got in there.
I'm going to get to that and some of your work history here in a second. I think I just have one immediate question, and then we could finish up the timeline. There's just one other screenshot you sent me. I'm going to read it to you, and then I just want to get some of your impressions on it. You guys were talking about some other stuff that might feed his ego, but is really funny. This is from July 8th, 2021, about a month or a year after some of those previous ones. You wrote, it'll feed the horny minds, including mine. By the way, if you're worried about NSFW stuff, I'm 18, so we vibing, cuz. And Demonmama said, I'm not anymore, smiley face. You've always been respectful about that. That's a very curious thing for an adult to say.
Oh, lovely. Oh, we're getting into this. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, when I forget when this happened, but I was probably, I think maybe 15, 16. Whenever she moved to Seattle or Washington or wherever the hell she is, I was told not to send Not Safe for Work to her anymore because the state and wherever she was moving to, that would be a huge no-no.
But not because you were a legal minor.
Yeah, no. Before that point, it was free game.
And so, were these things that she not just welcomed but like asked for? Was there any aspect of like ordering, so to say?
I wouldn't say that. It was very like just casual. Like I was just one of the what's it called? One of the boys. Just we're chilling. We're sending each other our art and the stuff we like, and just kept going until that point. And it did stop for a good bit. I think it stopped for a good bit on my old account. Because I remember her being very like thankful about it at least once, and before the screenshot that I sent you.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that didn't last very long.
And if we
a lot more
I
emails,
have another
okay?
one up
I'm
here. I think this maybe you sent a picture of buttholes to Demonmama, and this is November 27th, 2019. Which is, of course, it's called Draw Pile. It's supposed to get wild. How are you? Good dude. Drawing buttholes for the first time. She says good anatomy practice. And then you guys kind of start a conversation. So this is you've sent pornography to an adult who is at least
I was like 16 or 17 at that point. I would have been 17.
Which we did. So she's going to be about 29, 30 years old. There's no judgments to you. I think that if a minor sent me a not safe for work drawing, I would probably just say, don't do that anymore. But this was a pattern of stuff. How does it make you feel, now that you're a bit older, somebody with that kind of age difference exchanging, kind of freewheel exchanging pornographic material with a minor?
It really fucks me up now. Because like if I was in that, I'm thinking like of myself if I was in that position now.
No, some guy sent me an email about his mom. Forward, I lost my mom to the anti-woke mind virus. And he's just going on about, my mom now gets probably 90% of her news from Twitter. She's 62, not vaccinated.
As an adult, like talking to like a minor, that's fucking gross.
Yeah.
That fucks me up bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what the thought process that makes this
brings up George Soros
is, but I can't find it.
Yes.
In my noggin, it just should be no, and the fact that I broke the rule that she set, and the fact that she was just fine with it and didn't reprimand me or anything, that is rather telling.
Well, I think also there being a rule that
is also telling.
Yeah, it's sort of establishing the nature of that interaction seems, that it in my mind, I'm going to use this.
I don't know. Okay, I don't know anything about this. I forgot to mention, but I'm also French, and believe me, the crazies are in all continents, and French Twitter is filled with its own cesspool. That will probably seem uninspired and familiar, but there's a whole group of people on Twitter that believe the French First Lady is a man. Would this be what, like Macron's wife? And my mom is one of their strongest soldiers. Like a good citizen, I tried to look up when she had first mentioned, and surprisingly, there were a few fact-checking websites that had written a few lines, the usual stuff. It was started by a crazy psychic online, and 99% of her claims are debunked. It's a psychic, bro, yeah. Candace Owens believe this? Okay, we might have seen this at one point in time.
You don't have to agree with me, but this does strike me as being at least a touch predatory. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but
yeah, I will a little agree on that one.
Jesus.
It is a little fucky in that regard.
I'm going to try to move the conversation away from this, at least for a little bit. If you want to return to it later, that's absolutely okay. But it's actually even. It's a bit much even for me. I have to assume it's probably a little bit for you.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Moving into the Demonmama community, which you...
Hey, Dustin, I'm getting into a legal battle over racial discrimination against the Boulder Police Department and was wondering if we could chat. I feel like this is something you'd be interested in. If we could chat later, I'd appreciate it. Make a post on the subreddit, my dude.
Who ended up being integrated into and eventually working for, by your own statements to me, you started drawing thumbnails for her and also acting as a moderator. Can you tell me how that relationship evolved to that point?
I was brought on as a mod really, really early on, as I think just because I was a friend of hers and she needed mods. And
Could I ask a bit of at a time point?
When did she start her channel? Probably I would probably say just start of her channel. I don't know the exact date, but like really extremely early on.
It's like a 2016, 2017 ish. You know, I think I'm supposing. Sorry. If you want to look it up, feel free.
Yeah, I will look it up. 4 years ago. Let's see. So 2020. So about I would say about mid 2020 to like late 2020. I started modding for her and being active in her community.
Gotcha.
And on the mod end, it's interesting. The moment that a bunch of like the political frogs all really swarmed in from all the lefty side, in quotations, the mod team kind of had its first implosion. The head mod at the time and thumbnail artist Gina kind of had a meltdown, and it was a couple things leading up to it, but the entire, I forget if she was going to delete something important or start banning mods at random because she had the power to. But we had a full lockdown of the mod chat, and we had to cycle out.
Do you think if Trump loses the election, Elon becomes the next right-wing conspiracy Jesus? His recent antics feel like a villain origin story. I feel like Elon... Elon, to me, honest to God, he feels like billionaire Sneeko. Like, there are a couple things he does really well, but then other than that, he's just good at finding out like who the strongest man in the room is, and then he just copies that person verbatim. That's kind of what Elon feels like to me. So if you remove Trump or some of the crazier things, I don't know if Elon ever is capable of generating those insane thoughts on his own. I think he just copy pastes whoever he thinks is like the popular strongman populist at the time. That's what it feels like. But who knows? I don't know. We'll see.
The thumbnail artist, the head mod, and
okay, I'm done.
I think we had
Bagel
to do
time.
like a big old talk with all of the mods, and that was like barely when she was like a 1K, 2K subscriber. Like, she was really small at the time, so it was already kind of a mess at that point.
Were a lot of these people carryovers from the previous Discord you were in?
A couple of them were actually. I don't think they stayed for
This video
very
feels like a whole
long.
lot
I
of
don't
nothing.
think-
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I haven't been listening. Is there anything
I met
interesting that's happened so
Gatebush
far?
as a mod in Demonmama's community, so he wasn't in there. Who was? All the people that I can think of have either disassociated from Demonmama entirely, or like have just kind of faded out into non-existence for doing whatever they're doing. So, as far as I can remember, I think most.
Okay, we're done with this. I don't care anymore.